of pharmaceuticals prior to Kennedy signing that law was very limited. Somebody suffered from bipolarism in 1963 or before. There was basically one medication, okay, and that's referred to as lithium, and it has huge side effects. Okay, it's very toxic. Whereas in today's world, there are dozens and dozens and dozens. There's probably 100 different medications that one could use to deal with the mental disability called bipolarism. So that actually brings up another issue, and the other issue is America is desperately short of psychiatric professionals. So when you just look at the whole medical field and the whole world of doctoring, if you want to become a psychiatrist, well, you first got to become a doctor, okay? And then once you become a doctor, then you can specialize in psychiatry. So there's just not a lot of them. The ones that are available today, you'll be lucky if you get an appointment in the next 3 months or 4 months. But worse than that is most insurance companies don't cover it. So if you are a low or no income person living on the street, or you're living in the bottom 20% of the population, you cannot afford $1,000. That person cannot afford $1,000 out of their pocket to go see a psychiatrist. So in their minds, they will see the self-medication route as being a more viable solution. So when we start talking about the chemical and mental effects of heroin, heroin is a mood changer. People who have bipolarism, for example, have extreme mood swings, and they can't control these mood swings very well. But when you introduce heroin into that person's chemical profile, it alters their brain. It makes them feel good. It will very often achieve a stabilizing result for that bipolar person. But the problem, of course, is heroin is extremely expensive, and it has many other debilitating effects. So most heroin addicts, die 20, 30 years before the rest of the population, and that's if they're lucky. Many of them die, before they reach 30 years old. So if they start taking heroin when they're 18, 19, 20 years old, most of them don't make it much beyond 30, 31, 32. So, but nevertheless, because of the system, and as a presidential candidate for the United States, our job is to understand where we can fix the system, where we can put resources in place to deal with the problems that exist. It's nice knowing where the problems come from. It's nice knowing how we're going to solve the problems, sort of at the person level. But at the government level, we have to understand what we need to do to bring a system of cure back into operation. So that's where we are on mental health. Today, we need to rebuild, refurbish, reopen. I would say we probably need, just as without researching the issue in great detail, the next 2 sentences I'm about to say, but just having a general impression from working in this community, I would say that probably every state, on average, needs a good 3 or 4 mental hospitals. And it doesn't mean that we're going to lock these people away in a mental hospital. What it means is we need to have places, call it a mental hospital, call it a psychiatric institute, call it whatever we want, but people who have a mental disability, they need to be able to go there, get checked out, they need to get on their proper medication, and this has to be paid for by the government, whether the right wing of the society likes it or not. Because most of these people and most of these families do not have the resources to solve the problem. So we need to bring back the care facilities. We need to get the folks with mental disability on proper medication. If they have to live in the hospital for a couple of months to stabilize everything, so be it. But that's where we have to go. And the other thing that we're doing right now, which is really, really sad, is the jails across the country have become de facto mental hospital institutions. The United States puts more people in jail than any other country on the planet. And we are a free democracy, okay? On the one hand, we got too many laws, but another part of this equation is a lot of people that are extremely vulnerable and who are sort of literally stealing that loaf of bread because they don't have any money in their pocket. There's no way to take care of these people because the mental health institutions were closed. So we need to stop putting mental health patients in the jails, and we need to put them underneath proper mental health care. And what do we ultimately solve? So now let's look at this from the point of view of the voters, okay? The voters are going to say, okay, Quigley, I've heard everything you've just said, okay? And everything you said, I'm sure, is absolutely accurate because you don't seem like a guy who sits around and spouts false facts and doesn't do his research and he embellishes. So what does a society get out of it? Well, we get a lot of things out of it. Homelessness will nearly disappear overnight. So instead of having the 125,000 people that are homeless in LA, we got a large number in DC, there's a large number in every big American city. So I'm not picking on any city, I'm just using these as examples. But we're going to reduce that homeless population pretty quickly. It's going to be pretty instantaneous. By the same token, we're going to decrease the jail population. And we're also going to decrease the amount of crime across the society. And more importantly, if you go back to that scale that I was trying to draw, that picture that I was trying to draw, many people that are at the lower end of that graph I was telling you about, very low mental disability, very high ability to take care of themselves, they will become productive members of society. They can, if it's something as simple as working in the local fast food restaurant, if it's working in the grocery store, if it's stocking shelves, it doesn't matter. They can become functioning, contributing members of the society.